So guys, welcome to my channel Logic Gates by AK. So let's solve the daily challenges question which is given on 16th of August 2024, and I couldn't find the time to solve this problem yesterday, so I was recording this lecture on 17th of August 2024. So without any further ado, let, let's dive into the question. And if you want the solutions of top 150 lead code interview questions, I was just started a playlist to solve these 150 questions. Daily at max one question will be uploaded or one lecture will be uploaded in the playlist. Please check it out. I will provide the link in the description. So if you have any queries, please let me know in the comments. So let's dive into the problem statement. So the question is maximum distance in arrays, right? So the description was you are given m arrays which where each array is sorted in ascending order. You can pick up two integers from two different arrays. Yeah, you can pick two integers from two different arrays. Each array picks one and calculate the distance. We define the distance between two integers a and b to be their absolute difference, mod of a minus b. So the description was simple, right? So the input was given in the form of array of arrays, right? And each array is in sorted order, means increasing order, right? So we want the absolute difference, absolute maximum difference by picking up two numbers from two different arrays, and which gives us the maximum absolute difference, which is maximum distance. So in the first examples, the array was 1 comma 2 comma 3 and 4 comma 5 and 1 comma 2 comma 3. So if the array is in sorted order, what will be the maximum and minimum values of that array? The first element and the last element is right. So for every array, the starting element will be the minimum element in that array, and the last element in that array is the maximum value in the array. So for every array, we can access minimum and maximum with a constant of time. You don't have to iterate over array, and we don't have to do any linear steps. Right? It is in sorted order, so we get minimum and maximum at constant time. So what we can do by getting minimum and maximum of arrays? So so let's find the solution for the first examples. So what will be the maximum distance from this array here given is 4, which is one way to reach the maximum distance 4 is pick 1 in the first or third array and pick 5 in the second array, which is we are picking the one element from first array and number 5 from second array, which gives us the maximum distance or absolute difference of minimum and maximum, right? When we will get the maximum distance, it means we have to find the least minimum and the maximum value which are present in arrays, right? So in this array of elements, what is the least element? One, right? We do not have any elements which are less than one. So it will be our minimum value. And what will be the maximum value? Which is 5, right? And we do not have any elements which are greater than 5. So by finding the minimum and maximum from array of elements, we can define or we can return the maximum distance, right? So what we have to do? Initially, we declare minimum and maximum with some large values like integer minimum value and integer maximum value, right? And for every array, we update the minimum and maximum, and by iterating over the arrays, at finally we get the absolute minimum and the not absolutely minimum, the least minimum value and the maximum value we get, right, after iterating of those. And so, and we have to get the maximum result, right? So for every iterations we can find RES, I mean result, we can update the result. So I think that will be, so let's try this approach. If it doesn't work, let's go with another solutions. So let me define minimum and maximum variables which are required to store the least minimum value and the maximum value which are present in array of arrays, right? So I need a minimum value which initially contains integer of maximum value. And for maximum value, we store integer dot minimum value, right? So we iterate on, we are given a list of list, right? How we iterate on list of list? So let's take initializer vector. So I equal to 0, I less than arrays of size, I plus plus, and we need a list from that array, right? List of integer list equal to, we don't have to create any list, we are already have the list in the arrays, and we can get by indexing index arrays dot get. All right, so what will be the our minimum value, I mean the small value from that list, first element, right? List dot get of first element. And what will be, sorry, what will be our bigger value, last element, right? List dot get of, how we get the last index, by taking its size minus 1, right? So list dot size minus 1. So we got our small value from that list and big value from that list, and we update these small big values into the our minimum and maximum values. So how do we get minimum value? From small element and minimum element, you have to consider the minimum element and you have to store it in the minimum variable, right? By using minimum function, you can get minimum of small and min. Same as for the maximum, right? Max comma bit, and you change the function to maximum because we need maximum of previous maximum variable and the current bigger value. So we get minimum and maximum, right? And we need to store the absolute difference, which is the maximum difference. So let me define RES. Initially it will be 0. So absolute difference starts from 0 to, it will be always greater than 0, right? We are applying mod, and that even the difference is negative, it takes as positive. That is the absolute difference. So let me define our define step for arrays. We always consider the sorry, maximum of previous arrays value and the absolute difference of minimum and maximum, right? So and finally we return arrays. So this will be the code, and some of you may find the mistake in this code. It's not a mistake, but it satisfies many of the test cases, but it goes wrong in some test cases, and I will say why it goes wrong at test cases. But before that, let me try to run it. Okay, okay, yeah, let me run it once. Sorry guys, there is a issue with my internet connection. So let me run it again. Let's see. Yeah, it accepted solutions and let me submit and you find the test case where it goes wrong and I will resolve the issue. Yeah, here is the test case. See, we got 5, right? How do we get 5 by using these elements? How do we get the maximum distance 5? By taking 0 and 5, right? This is the maximum distance it can get. But in the description, it was clearly mentioned that by picking two integers, a comma b, from two different arrays, right? And what we are doing here, we are picking the minimum and maximum from the same array, right? So this goes wrong, right? Even though we passed the many of test cases, but this was not the overall solutions. So we have to get 4. How do we get 4? By taking the 1 and 5, right? Or 0 comma 4. By taking these two cases, we get the maximum difference 4. And 5 is not our answer because you know well, we do not consider the minimum and maximum in the same array, right? So let me just print the minimum and maximum for every iteration. You will find what we are doing, minimum and max plus result. Use this as test case and let me just run it. See, for the first array, we are taking minimum 1 and maximum as 4. And this should not be done again. It should not be considered, right? We should not consider this as our answer. Let me just this statement after updating the result. So, run again. Yeah. See, by taking minimum and maximum from first array, we get a difference of 3. And by taking minimum and maximum for second array, we get 5, right? But we should not consider the minimum and maximum in the same array. So what we have to do to resolve this issue, uh, let me just tell you, by taking these examples. So here, what we are doing for every, I mean, uh, for every array, we are finding the minimum and maximum and we are updating the finding the its absolute difference and we are storing it in the result, right? So this goes wrong in this test case and what we have to do or how do we resolve this issue and by not finding the absolute difference in the same array, right? uh, Let me just go to the next slide slow. So we always maintain the previous minimum and maximum, right? We maintain these minimum and maximum, and when we are at ith index, we consider the minimum and maximum as T1, T2 from temporary minimum and temporary maximum. And from these four elements, how do we get the absolute difference from different arrays, right? by taking one minimum from previous and maximum from current, right? T2 is our current array. We are at current index I, right? And it is at zero index we have previous minimum and maximum. And how do we find the absolute difference or the total maximum difference with these four elements? We get maximum difference with the minimum value, with the previous minimum and current maximum, or and we can get this also previous maximum and current minimum, right? So with this, in the both values x and y, we take the maximum and we compare it with the previous result, and overall maximum will be stored in result, right? I hope you understand. We are checking the absolute difference by taking minimum or maximum from previous array, and we are checking with finding the absolute difference with current minimum, maximum, and a previous minimum and maximum. When we will get the wrong, previously what we are doing is finding the absolute difference for minimum and maximum, which are in green color, right? Which are in green color represents the minimum, maximum in the same array. But here we do not finding the minimum, maximum absolute difference, right? We are finding the absolute difference for minimum and current maximum and maximum and for current minimum, right? So this goes well, and this is the solution for this problem. I hope you understand clearly. If you're not, I can rewatch the video again. So yeah, I can tell it again. So previously are finding absolute difference for minimum and maximum. And these minimum and maximum may contain in the same array or may not contain in the same array. So if it contain in the same array, you get wrong answer, right? And we should not find the absolute difference by taking two integers which are in the same array. So for that issue to resolve that, we are not checking the elements which are in the same array. We are maintaining two pointers at index current, let's say it is current, and which is the previous. We have minimum and maximum for previous array, and we have current maximum and current minimum for current index. And we are finding the absolute difference for current minimum and sorry, previous minimum and current maximum. T2 is maximum, current maximum, and T1 is current minimum. And we are finding absolute difference which previous maximum and current minimum, right? And finally, we are updating the maximum result into the result. So this solution will work. Let me code it apart. Let me implement in code. So let me define a function. And previously we solved this in greedy approach, right? It means we find for every iteration we find minimum and maximum, and we return the total in. Let me just remove this one. Put it in a separate function. Let me provide a function called solution to, which takes input list of integer, sorry, arrays. Let me write the code in this function and let me call it once to run it. So what do we need? We need a result, and we need to store the minimum and maximum for the first array. We store minimum with first array, which is array dot get 0, which gives us the first array of elements, and to get the minimum, we get further first index, right? And for the maximum, what do we do? We get the maximum element of first array, right? So in first array, what we are doing, get arrays dot get 0 of dot size minus 1. So we have minimum and maximum, which are previous minimum and maximum. And we have to iterate from I equal to 1, I less than arrays dot size, I plus plus. Let me just define as previous minimum, previous maximum. Sorry, previous minimum and previous maximum. And we get list right from for every index. We need a list from the array of list equal to arrays dot get at. And we need current minimum. Current minimum will be the first element of the list. Current maximum equal to list dot get last index, right? List dot size minus 1. So we have our current minimum, current maximum, and previous minimum, previous maximum. What we have to do? How do we find the absolute difference for previous max minus current minimum and current maximum and previous minimum, right? So let me define a statement where we get x equal to math dot absolute difference of previous maximum minus current minimum to get the maximum distance, and into y equal to math dot areas current maximum minus previous minimum, right? And we need to update the result, our result, right? Math dot maximum of res comma. And in x and y, what do we consider? The maximum, right? Maximum of x and y consider. So math dot maximum of x comma y. So after finding res, after updating res, and we have to update previous minimum and maximum, right? We have to update previous minimum, previous maximum. From current minimum, current maximum, we have to find the previous minimum. Yes, we have to update previous minimum and maximum. For next iterations, we always maintain previous minimum and previous maximum. So as we did previously, but in this case, the previous minimum and maximum may contain in the same array and may not contain in the same array. If both are contained in the same array also, it didn't raise any errors, right? Why? Because we are not finding the absolute difference for previous minimum and previous maximum. Yes, we observe these two statements are used to find the absolute difference, right? And we never find the absolute difference for previous minimum and previous maximum, right? So we don't get any error. And the previous minimum is updated with minimum of previous minimum and current minimum. And same as for maximum, previous maximum equal to math dot maximum of previous max comma current max. So finally we have to return the res, right? Let me just try and return the solution to giving input as arrays. Let me just the function name, it is solution to. I hope everything was good unless the syntax mistakes is. Yeah, it goes well. So let me just submit. Let's wait for the result. Yeah, it is accepted. And the complexity was also good. And we are going in linear time. Let me just the complexity. The time complexity is in linear search. And for space complexity also we did not use any extra space. unless those minimum and maximum variables. So this is the optimal solutions as it is the optimal solutions. And we can further simplify this by reducing the state number of statements, and that doesn't help to optimize the time complexity. By reducing a huge complexity to small, it will reduce the time complexity, means from reducing solution from n square complexity to order of n, it will improve the time complexity. Not the constant number of statements doesn't improve the complexity, right? So that's it for today's lecture, guys. Sorry for the delay of this video. It should be posted on 16th of August, but unable to complete it by the time, and I was completing this on 17th of August. So if you have any queries, please let me know in the comments, please. And if you like my content, you can share it with your friends. And yeah, that's it, guys. And see you in the next upcoming videos. So, so thanks for watching once again.